Anna!
Hey, Jerry!
Che cazzo fai?
How are you? Come stai? I
You
know I
alright?
see you after a long time. It's nearly 3 weeks. Let's have a look at your hair. You look smashing. Really nice you look. So you asked me to make something very nice.
Yes, mate. I'd like some of your lovely bread.
Yeah,
just a little loaf or something.
Yeah, I know. I made just a couple of little loaf anyway. I'll see if you like.
Oh my God. Gennaro, you always do exactly the same thing every year.
Then when
Always
you give it
go
to
over
Juliet,
the top.
you pick him up and you say, Juliet, with all my heart. Here, hold this one in your hands because I'm busy and you know you're busy as
Mate,
well.
I appreciate it.
I know you wanted to go. There he is. You think it's beautiful?
That's beautiful, mate.
Don't eat on the way, I warn you.
I won't.
If she comes there, you eat, I'm going to be very upset. Okay, look after yourself. Ciao. Say, big kiss to John.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Take care.
Ciao, bye.
Ciao,
Thank you for
bella.
coming. Ciao. I don't think it's like that.
I wanted to do some new potatoes to go with the fish, and I'm doing it really, really simply, but there's a real kind of knack of getting it really, really good. And what I did is I got my new potatoes and I give them a scrub with a green scrubber, so that kind of layer of skin has come off, and it kind of leaves it a bit rough. So when you put all the lovely oil and herbs and lemon juice on later, it just coats it, sucks it all up, and just the all-round potato tastes absolutely beautiful. So what I've done is I've just boiled them after I've scrubbed them in salted boiling water, and I've got some really nice dill. All I do is just pick off all the nice bits, get rid of the horrible fat stalks. I tell you what, it was so nice of Gennaro to do that, you know, bake the bread for me. He's done it for me, he does it for me all the time, but the thing is, Italians are so romantic, you tell them you're cooking for your girlfriend and they start doing heart shapes and big ones, and kind of makes me feel a bit bad about all the times I've stitched him up at work. I remember once, we had a big shipment of white truffles come in because he was a mushroom man, he used to deal with all that, and they're like £1,400 a kilo. And he was kind of brushing them and weighing them to make sure that the shipment was all above board and sign the old invoice off. And the phone went and he went to answer it, and I went and swapped about £1,000 worth of truffles for new potatoes. And when he came back, he started realising that things weren't quite right, and he started sniffing them and groping them, started swearing in Italian, and I disappeared in the fridge, kind of like really laughing, looking through the kind of joint in the door. Then after about 3 minutes of that, he turned around and saw me really laughing my head off in the corner in the fridge. And he ran over and he said, "Don't ever do that again, you nearly give me a heart attack." Oh God, I feel bad. Right, so just chop this dill up. Kind of rough. And then just chuck it in an old bowl. See how these are going. Yeah. The nice thing about really good new potatoes is that they should be almost creamy. Do you know what I mean? These are really good. Well, Shake off all the steam. But while they're still, let them go for a minute. But while they're still hot, we're going to dress them, and that's just going to make them taste so good you wouldn't believe. And the funny thing is, it's really simple things like a little bit of scrubbing, dressing them while they're hot, things like that make things taste so much better. And people always go, "What did you do?"
So you think it's the little things in cooking that make the difference?
I think it's the little things and a little bit of care that counts. Just put them in with the dill, squeeze over a lemon. Some olive oil, just a little lug, just enough to coat. Salt and pepper. And just dress it, or toss it, mix it up, whatever you want to call it.
Would you use any other herbs rather than just dill?
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, like things like dill and mint are like the classic sort of new potato partners, you know, but things like parsley when it's really good and fresh. Basil is lovely. You could do coriander if you're in the mood. You know, just anything, any sort of delicate herb, really. This is an absolutely fantastic way to cook fish. the trick is that we make a tin foil envelope, and that means we cook everything in it. We've got the herbs, we've got the fish, we've got the lemon juice, we've got the oil, and all these things cook away, and basically you've got your main course meal, and you've got the sauce all made for you. Roll out a bit of tin foil 4 times bigger than your fish, right? Basically because we're going to double wrap it, just to be safe, you know, so it's a nice thick bag. Just fold it in half like that. And then I've got a really nice fish. It's a lovely sea bass. And I went to the fishmonger and I've had it scaled and gutted for me, so I haven't got to do any of that malarkey. It's about £2, which is more than enough for me and Jules. You lose about £1, like at least half in bones and stuff.
Do you always make this dish with whole fish, or could you use steaks?
Oh, you can use whatever you like. You can use cuts. I like to use whole fish when I possibly can, because all the kind of bones within it kind of help to make the meat really tasty and the juice really tasty and juicy as well, you know. So I'm just scoring it at an angle, not deeply at all, just a little bit thinly. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a good pinch of salt, and I'm going to sprinkle that on the fish on both sides. I'm going to kind of go against the grain and push that into those gaps and do that on both sides, and that's just getting all that flavour right in there. And then a good pinch of pepper on both sides, and do exactly the same. Just push that right in there. And you know, that's what it's all about, really. Little things like that make things really, really tasty. So what I need now is kind of some really delicate kind of flavour enhancers, and you can do what you like, you know, let your imagination take you, really. But I've got some bay leaves, I've got the red onion, I've got these bits of fennel that were left over from the salad, which were a bit stringy, and some fresh basil, which is good, really, really nice basil. Now what I'm going to do is finely chop this fennel. And we probably won't eat this fennel. You could, but we probably won't eat it because I just want it to enhance the sauce, really. And then what you've got to do is just mix it all up a bit, and then lay it all out kind of equally over here. Pat it all down, and then put the fish on top of it, just like a trivet if you were roasting a bit of meat or something like that, and just push it to one end.
Why do you do that?
To keep the bottom of the bottom side of the bass off all the liquor and the juice, because you don't want the top sort of steaming lovely and then the bottom kind of boiling away. And I'm going to peel an onion and slice it really thinly. And these red onions seem to be nice and sweet. And the thing about red onion as well, when you cut it quite thinly, it's a really delicate taste. Just break it up a little bit and just kind of put it all around. And I'll tell you what we will do. We'll put a little bit of salt in the actual cavity of the fish, just before we put anything inside it. And then we'll shove some onion in there. And just push all these things tight next to it, so they're all kind of hugging it, really. And then what I want is, I've got lovely basil. And you know, I want to stuff that cavity right full of lovely fresh herbs. And keep the stalks on. You can bruise them or snap them or break them, just to get the flavours going a bit. But just stuff that right in there, full, you know, like well OTT, you know. But just imagine all those flavours in the belly, all kind of steaming as it cooks into the belly, and then, you know, all this around it, making that lovely juice. It's just so tasty. And then pick all these bits of bay leaf, just kind of rip them over.
What other combinations of fish and flavourings could you make?
God, there's so many. I mean, just get that imagination go wild. I mean, you can do like monkfish studded with anchovies, rosemary, white wine butter. You can do John Dory with cherry tomatoes and olives. You can do salmon with asparagus and mint. You can do cod with chickpeas and chilli and lime and parsley. You can do, give me another thing.
Trout.
Give me trout, smashed up thyme, lemon. Very, very nice. You know, all wrapped up in the bag. Goodness, cooking away. They're all fantastic like that. But you know, if you like two things together, then think, well, can I incorporate it into the bag? I mean, this can be as simple or as complex as you want. I mean, if I just did this with like flat leaf parsley and lemon, it would still be gorgeous, you know?
And no washing up either?
No, just chuck it all away, no washing up. And I like that because I'm not that partial to scrubbing, I must admit. Nice lug of olive oil. And what we want is a good knob of butter, about a good 2-3 ounce knob of butter. So you can put it on it, inside a bit, you know, around it, whatever. And then the final thing that makes it really, really work is about 2 or 3 lemons. 2 juicy ones or 3 if they're not so juicy. And this lemon's going to, well, it's going to flavour it, but it's also going to melt with the old butter to make it the most outrageous sauce you can imagine. Get it all on there. All done. Just push the old fish forward a little bit. You can't really go wrong here unless you're really rough and you pierce the tin foil. So fold it over in half, just like you would like an envelope or a Christmas present or something like that, and push the 2 ends together, and then really tightly and firmly fold, because you don't want this to leak. All right, and then you go to one end, just until you can start to feel the flesh, you know. And then the last one. Right, and then the last trick is, just where you folded it, just kind of bring it up so it's not kind of flopping onto the tray. So if there are any little gaps, then it won't escape. All right, and that's it, all done, all raring to go. Just gently, very, very carefully, you don't want to pierce it now. Put it onto the old tray. In the oven, 220 degrees, 8 minutes per pound, 2 pound fish, 16 minutes. So whack it in the oven. When it comes out of the oven, the little trick is actually that let it rest for about 3 or 4 minutes. Let it just relax, chill out, and it just makes it taste a lot better. Take it out to the table, it's all puffed up. Rip it open, steam.
Get behind the sun and cast his way. All I need's a place to find, and there I'll celebrate. All in all, there's something to give, something